And the best male hip-hop artist goes to...
And the choice male artist is... And the winner is...
And the winner is...
The winner is... Who's gonna...
J.Lo!
R.U.L.E, yeah.
It's R.U.L.E! Put it on me.
They said this is 90s night, so they brought out a 2000 artist. But my album came out in 99, so I guess that counts. Sanchez, we ready? 1 second, I'm loading up. They give me time to load up. Are we ready?
21 questions is greedy.
No,
That's not what it's about.
21 is
50 Cent really does watch the show. Did you think of anything that you would like to say to him?
Yeah, you know, here's the thing, right? We've been having this ongoing feud now for like, I don't know, it seems like 15 years or something like that. And I think it's time that we've grown past it.
You do.
So I'm gonna take today on Andy and watch what's happening live. This is what's happening live.
Okay, what's happening live?
I am removing myself from the circus.
Okay.
Because, no.
The early 2000s was a special moment in the hip-hop history. Street credibility and pop appeal collided. Radio played rap choruses sung by men who could spit bars, and in the middle of it all, there was Ja.Rule. Born Jeffrey Bruce Atkins in Hollis, Queens, he wasn't just another rapper chasing the spotlight. He was a voice that could bridge gritty New York streets with radio-ready hooks, a melodic dynamo whose songs dominated charts and stadiums alike. From underground crews to collaborations with Jay-Z and DMX, from the rise of Murder Inc. to platinum-selling albums like Pain is Love, Ja.Rule carved a path that few could replicate. Yet critics and rivals often overshadow his early 2000s dominance. This is the story of that rise, that run, and that influence. The hits, the battles, the beefs, the triumphs, and why even today, Ja.Rule's early career deserves a closer look. Jeffrey Bruce Atkins was born February 29th of 1976 in Hollis, Queens, the same borough that gave the world Run DMC, LL Cool J, and Nas, Mobb Deep, and so much more MCs. From the start, the streets were both playground and classroom. Growing up in Hollis wasn't easy, but it was formative. The neighborhood's energy, its grit, its rhythm of survival would shape the voice that would eventually dominate radio and charts alike. In the mid-90s, Ja.Rule found his first outlet in music through a local crew called the Cash Money Clique. The group included his cousin Chris Black and friend 0 or 01, I don't know. And together, they cut demos and freestyles on neighborhood corners.
Don't risk it. Ja.Rule's known for making heads split, fully loaded clip, using wax for targets, rat-tat-tat.
These weren't polished studio recordings. These were raw, urgent snapshots of life in Queens, reflecting ambition, struggle, and the despicable cadence of someone who had been immersed in hip-hop since childhood. It was during these early years that Ja.Rule first connected with R.U.L.E, a local producer with a sharp ear for talent. Gotti recognized something unique in Jeffrey, a raspy, commanding voice that could convey both street toughness and emotional vulnerability. The two began working together, recording demos and strategizing how to break into the city crowded with ambitious voices. By 1998, Ja.Rule's talent caught nationwide attention. He landed a writing and vocal feature on Jay-Z's Can I Get a single from the Volume 2 Hard Knock Life soundtrack. This wasn't just a feature, it was a statement. Ja.Rule had arrived on the national stage. The song will introduce millions to his gritty tone, melodic instincts, and the duality that would define his early 2000s sound, equally at home in street narratives and radio-friendly hooks. The feature opened doors. It created a bridge between the underground hustle and mainstream opportunity, setting the stage for Ja.Rule's first solo album. But it wasn't just luck or timing. It was preparation, street credibility, and an unshakable work ethic. The Hollis streets had taught him one thing. To rise, you need more than skill. You need a vision. By the late 1990s, Ja.Rule wasn't just a promising rapper from Queens. He had already made a lane for himself, and he had an ally who understood the mechanics of music business and marketing better than almost anyone in New York, Gotti. Gotti had already built a reputation as a visionary producer, someone who could spot talent and craft a sound that balanced street grit with radio accessibility. For Ja Rule, this meant more than just studio sessions. It was about defining a brand, a persona, and a sound that could dominate both clubs and charts. The formula that Gotti and Ja would develop was simple. Verses grounded in street narratives, hooks and choruses designed to appeal to R&B and pop audiences, collaborations with in-house singers, most famously Ashanti, and an ear for timing singles to dominate radio and MTV. It was a blueprint that would define not just Ja Rule, but a generation of early 2000 hits. Murder Inc. was just a label. It was an incubator, a creative collective that nurtured talent and understood how to package it for maximum impact. The synergy between Gotti and Ja Rule became a signature, where many rappers relied on pure street credibility or radio appeal. Ja Rule blended both, a balance that would make him a household name. Gotti's strategy also extended to alliances with established stars. Features with artists like Jay-Z and DMX weren't just collaborations. They were endorsements, signaling to the industry that Ja Rule wasn't just an overnight sensation, but a legitimate force. By the time his debut album rolled out, the infrastructure of mentorship, production, and strategic partnerships were already in place. So Ja Rule basically had it all already. Queen Streets, underground crews, and the keen eye of Irv Gotti, that Ja Rule developed a sound uniquely his own, 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot on the radio dial. And when Venni Vetti Vecci dropped in 1999, the world was finally ready to hear it. June 1st, 1999, the streets of New York and the wider hip-hop world were introduced to Ja Rule's first solo album, Venni Vetti Vecci, a title borrowed from the Latin phrase, I came, I saw, I conquered. It was an audacious statement for a debut, and audacious it was. The album launched with the single Holla Holla, a track that fused aggressive street bars with a hook designed to dominate radio. The response was immediate though. Venni Vetti Vecci debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, selling roughly over 184,000 copies in its first week. For a debut for a New York rapper blending street narratives with melodic hooks, this was a strong statement from Ja Rule. It meant that Ja Rule had finally arrived. Critics were divided though. Some critics praised Ja Rule's gritty delivery and charismatic voice, while others questioned his R&B-fused approach to hooks, suggesting that he might be too radio-friendly for hardcore hip-hop fans. But commercial success spoke louder than the critics. Tracks like Holla Holla became staples on radio and in clubs, proving that Ja Rule's strategy of crossover appeal could sell records and sell them big. The album also showcased Ja Rule's network of alliances. Collaborations with Jay-Z and DMX weren't just features, they were endorsements. A stamp of legitimacy in a crowded industry. It was a declaration Ja Rule wasn't just a newcomer, he was a contender. Venni Vetti Vecci wasn't perfect. Some tracks leaned heavily on mainstream appeal, others were raw street raps that hinted at a deeper potential Ja Rule would realize later in his career. But as a debut, it set the stage for a career that would define the early 2000s. A career that would blend grit, melody, and chart-topping success in a way few could replicate. By the year 2000, Ja Rule had already proven he could dominate as a solo artist, but with his second album, R.U.L.E 336, he would show that he could bridge the gap between street credibility and mainstream radio dominance. The album opened up with tracks that still carried the raw, Queensbred edge fans love, but the real magic happened when Ja Rule leaned into his knack for melodic hooks. Songs like Between Me and You, featuring Christina Milian, and Put It On Me with Vita and produced by R.U.L.E Gotti weren't just radio friendly, they were irresistible.
Every little thing that we do should be between me and you.
Without you,
Wanna be without you.
I only think about you.
But what you're saying is true.
I know you're tired of
Put It On Me climbed into the top 10 on the Billboard's Hot 100, cementing Ja Rule as a crossover superstar. Critics were split again. Purists argued that Ja Rule was softening, moving away from hardcore hip-hop towards pop sensibilities, but the sales told a different story. R.U.L.E 336 debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, and the album eventually went platinum, solidifying Murder Inc.'s reputation as a powerhouse label capable of producing hits that resonated both in the clubs and on the radio. What set this album apart was just a hooks for the features. It was the formula Ja Rule and R.U.L.E Gotti had perfected. Streetwise verses delivered with authenticity, paired with sung or melodic choruses designed to appeal to a wider audience. This was a sound that would dominate the early 2000s and influence a generation of R&B and rap collaborations. R.U.L.E 336 didn't just elevate Ja Rule, it redefined the commercial potential of rap for the decade. He became the blueprint for a new kind of hip-hop artist, one who could maintain street credibility while owning radio and who could command both platinum albums and club anthems simultaneously. October 2nd, 2001, Ja Rule released his third studio album, Pain is Love, the record that would cement him as one of the most dominant mainstream hip-hop artists of the early 2000s. From the first single, Always on Time, featuring Ashanti, it was clear Ja Rule had perfected the formula of street-hardened verses paired with irresistibly melodic hooks. The song topped the Billboard's Hot 100, becoming the first #1 single and established him as a household name across radio, television, and clubs alike.
I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time.
That momentum didn't stop there though. His collaboration with Jennifer Lopez on R.U.L.E, the Murder remix, blending pop, R&B, and hip-hop in a way that felt groundbreaking at the time. The remix topped the charts for multiple weeks and showcased Ja Rule's ability to dominate both urban and mainstream markets one on the Billboard 200, selling over 361,000 copies in its first week, and would eventually go multi-platinum. Critics, while still mixed on the lyrical style, had to acknowledge the album's relentless commercial success and cultural impact. Ja Rule's voice had become a fixture of the early 2000s sound. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a brand, an architect of a new era of hip-hop and R&B duets, and a trendsetter who helped bring melodic hooks to the forefront of mainstream hip-hop. At the peak of Pain is Love, Ja Rule had achieved a balance few artists could. He was street credible yet radio ready, a superstar who could command both charts and respect, at least for a time. And yet, the seeds of conflict, industry rivals, and changing tastes were already quietly taking roots.
A friend of mine's robbed Ja Rule, and I'm in a club, and I see the nigga, I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, chilling. He see me kicking it with the nigga that robbed him, and he feel like, oh shit, I shouldn't speak to this dude, because I know the kid robbed him, but I know this kid, I grew up with him. I'll tell you personally, the murder ain't, the people that you see, like Irv, Ja, the people that are involved in the business aspect, these niggas don't got no hood.
November 19th of 2002, Ja Rule returned with The Last Temptation, his fourth studio album. By now, his formula was familiar. Gritty verses grounded in street narratives, paired with melodic hooks and R&B collaborations that dominated the radio. But this album represented more than consistency. It was a refinement of his crossover sound. The lead single, Mesmerized, featuring Ashanti, became an instant hit, peaking at #2 on the Billboard's Hot 100. It's a blend of romantic lyrics, catchy chorus, and Ja Rule's gravelly voice made it impossible to ignore on radio, in clubs, and on MTV. The album debuted at #2 on the Billboard 200, selling roughly over 237,000 copies in its first week, and eventually went platinum. Critics still debated Ja Rule's street credibility, claiming his melodic R&B fused direction was softening his image, but the public response was clear. He found a winning formula, one that combined commercial appeal with enough grit to maintain authenticity. The Last Temptation also reflected Ja Rule and Murder Inc.'s ability to strategically craft albums around singles. Every song was positioned to hit radio, clubs, or the streets, maximizing exposure and sales. It was a blueprint for mainstream success in the early 2000s hip-hop, a blueprint many would attempt to copy, but few would perfect like Ja Rule. But by the end of 2000, Ja Rule had solidified his place as one of hip-hop's defining commercial artists. His voice was recognized to millions, his hooks dominated radio, and his influence on the blend of R&B and rap was undeniable. But the tides of the industry were shifting, and soon, external conflicts and rising rivalries would begin to challenge his dominance.
That nigga's a sweetheart for real.
I don't know him.
He's a fruit pop for real.
You know, he sells like no record. He's not even came out yet.
I can't even see how a kid could look at Ja Rule and want to be like Ja Rule.
I don't know him.
This nigga want to be Tupac Shakur.
There's a lot of people out there that don't have things.
This nigga doing duets.
That see people with things.
But you call yourself a murderer the whole time.
And they want what these other people got.
Right. He's a pop artist.
Who?
Grease video.
Buddy Hustler.
Like, you might as well just go over there and hang out with Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and them, if they'll accept you.
Success is the best, you know what I mean? Revenge, nigga.
That shit is crazy. I really don't like that guy. I really don't like Ja Rule.
November 4th, 2003, Ja Rule released Blood in My Eye, a stark departure from the melodic radio-friendly hits that defined his previous albums. This was a hard-edged, aggressive project, a statement of defiance aimed at rivals and critics alike. The album was released during one of the most infamous conflicts in the early 2000s, Ja Rule's escalating feud with 50 Cent and the Shady Aftermath camp, and G-Unit. Originally intended as a mixtape, Blood in My Eye became a fully produced album designed to research Ja Rule's street credibility. Tracks were targeted, confrontational, and filled with lyrical bars aimed at his growing list of adversaries. Critically, the album received mixed reviews. While fans of hardcore rap appreciate the return to street-centered themes, the broader public and mainstream critics were less impressed. Commercially, it did not replicate the same success of Pain is Love or The Last Temptation. Debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200, respectable, but a clear indication that the industry's center of gravity was shifting. The feud with 50 Cent was just personal. It was a cultural and marketing battleground. 50 Cent's aggressive promotion, G-Unit's rise in popularity, and the shifting taste of hip-hop audiences challenged Ja Rule's formula of melodic street rap. Blood in My Eye was a defensive move, a last attempt to reclaim the street image that had propelled his rise, but the tide was turning. Though Blood in My Eye marked a temporary retreat from radio dominance, it highlighted Ja Rule's loyalty to the street roots and his unwillingness to bow to critics or rivals. It was a bold, defiant chapter, one that would set the stage for what would be his final major commercial effort in the early 2000s. November 9th, 2004, Ja Rule released R.U.L.E, his 5th studio album and arguably his last major mainstream statement of the early 2000s. After the gritty defiance of Blood in My Eye, R.U.L.E represented a return of melodic hooks, collaborations with pop and R&B stars, and the formula that had once made him unstoppable. The album's lead single, Wonderful, featuring R. Kelly and Ashanti, was an instant hit. It reached the top 5 on the Billboard's Hot 100 and reaffirmed Ja Rule's skill at crafting heartfelt melodic rap R&B collaborations. Other tracks like New York with Fat Joe and Jadakiss showcased his street credibility and loyalty to the East Coast sound. R.U.L.E debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200, a respectable showing, but signaled the slow dominance Ja Rule once had in the early 2000s before. Despite strong singles and loyal fan support, the feud with 50 Cent and the rise of new artists like Kanye West, Ludacris, and the continued G-Unit explosion were changing the landscape of hip-hop. Critically, the album received mixed of positive reviews. Observers praised Ja Rule's ability to craft catchy melodic hooks, while others called Ja Rule predictable and trash for putting out the same kind of material and music for the past 4 years. But R.U.L.E confirmed one undeniable truth. Ja Rule's early 2000s was a blueprint for the modern R&B and rap crossover, a model that countless artists will emulate in the years to come. By 2004, Ja Rule had achieved 5 studio albums, multiple top charting singles, and international recognition. He had navigated the tricky balance of street credibility and commercial appeal, crafting hits that defined a generation. And yet, his early 2000s dominance is often underappreciated, overshadowed by feuds and controversies that will follow. From the rough corners of Hollis, Queens, to chart-topping singles, he built a sound that was instantly recognizable, emotionally resonant, and undeniably infectious. 5 studio albums, countless singles, and a style that influenced an entire generation. Ja Rule was both a product of his own era and a shaper of it. He bridged worlds, the streets and the radio, the hardcore and the melodic, the underground and the international stage. Though his legacy is often clouded by the feud and controversy with 50 Cent, the truth remains. Ja Rule's early 2000s era was a period of undeniable innovation, influence, and commercial triumph. Hits like Always on Time, Mesmerize, and Wonderful didn't just dominate the charts, they defined a sound, and that sound continues to echo across hip-hop and R&B today. Ja Rule may have been underrated by critics and history alike, but the music tells a story, a voice from Hollis, a force in the studio, a bridge between street and mainstream. That is the legacy of Ja Rule's early 2000s run. That legacy, in all its grit, melody, and undeniable swagger, remains untouchable.